This is Dr. Andrew Jones. In this edition of Veterinary Secrets, we're going to be talking about feline herpes, the signs, the causes, and the natural solutions. Hi you guys, welcome back again to my channel. In this edition we're talking about feline herpes. In particular it came from a client's question, what is it? I've been told my cat has this, are there any natural options? First of all, great question, thanks for your suggestions. So let's get right into the video. So what is feline herpes? More commonly it's known as the cat flu or the feline flu. There are two different viruses that can cause the cat flu. One is the feline herpes virus, feline viral rhinotracheitis. The other one is called feline calicivirus. So they're the two most common viruses that cause what is known as the cat flu. I'm going to try to show some of the things that you would expect to see in your own cat on Gussie. But as you may or may not know, she's not especially great on me using her, but we'll see what happens. So first of all, let's talk about some of the more common clinical signs. In particular, you'd expect to see a cat that is sneezing. Think about yourself with the flu. They may be coughing. You can have discharge from their nose, runny eyes, even swollen eyes. In some cases, for some of these guys, we can actually see ulcerations on their eyes. Sometimes we can even see lesions on their tongue. You'd expect to see that your cat is depressed, just not very active, lethargic. Some of these guys are also drooling. There's excessive salivation because of the inflammation that's going on inside their mouth and their tongue. I'm just going to try to show you some of that stuff on Gussie. I'll see if she'll let me at all first. So as I talked about earlier, she has had the flu in the past. She was a shelter kitten that first came to my mom nearly 20 years ago, so she's doing awesome. Hello, Gussie. But she has her certain ways. She doesn't like too many things being done to her now. So I'm trying to sort of minimize what I actually do to her. Hello, Gus. Yes, it's nice to actually see her purring. As far as the most common clinical sign is like you having the flu. You're congested. Your cat's going to sound congested. She's sneezing. These watery eyes, runny nose. And just looking at it, you can visually just have a good look. You can hear the congestion in your cat. They have difficulty breathing. You're going to visually see them sneezing. Along with their eyes, pretty commonly these big red swollen eyes. So I'll just try to open Gussie's eyes. So above this here, above her lower lid, just above her upper lid, that red tissue around her eye, that's called the conjunctiva. Gus. And these cats that have the cat flu or they have feline herpes virus, it's very red and swollen. And in some of the kittens, when I would see in practice, their eyes they would come in completely shut. So those are all the most common clinical signs. That's what you should be seeing in your own cat if they've got feline herpes virus. You guys, a couple other things. So the virus itself spreads very easy from cat to cat. It was very common, for instance, when I had the animal shelter next door to the clinic. Anytime you have a large number of cats in a small space, really easily spreads. So primarily it's nasal, so these other cats are coughing and sneezing. You've got thousands of these virus particles in the air, easily goes to another cat. We can have some of these kittens can be born with it. For instance, their mom can be pregnant, have feline herpes virus, pass it on to them. The other big thing about this virus is that it can live throughout the life of your cat. So it can actually harbor itself within a certain cranial nerve called the trigeminal nerve. It can just live within the nerve during times of stress, for instance. Maybe bring another cat into the household, you're moving, your cat is sick from another reason, the virus can flare up, and then your cat starts to sneeze again. And they might have that discharge from the eyes. My last cat, Cleo, he had sort of chronic herpes virus infection, and he'd constantly have this red gunk. He had bouts where he started to sneeze, and his eyes would sort of flare up in the corner. So that's a common indicator your cat has had herpes virus, they haven't cleared it. So then that sort of leads us to, what can you do? First of all, what can you do to prevent this virus? And secondly, too, if your cat has this, what can you do to help your cat at home? So the first big thing is if you have a kitten, sort of 8 to 12-week-old kitten, you've just adopted a new kitten, this is one of the few vaccines that I suggest you get or give to your kitten. The feline herpes virus, calicivirus, and panleukopenia, the 3 core kitten vaccines. It can be given as a vaccine at 8 weeks and again at a vaccine at 12 weeks. And it does a pretty darn good job about preventing feline herpes virus. So that's the first big thing. But now if you're at the point where you no longer have a kitten, you've now got an adult cat, he or she has signs of herpes virus, the cat flu, you need to be considering some of the additional following remedies to help treat and help your cat at home. So the first big thing about helping and treating your cat at home is supportive care. Much the same that we're doing with our own selves if we've got the flu. And so what we're wanting to do is make sure that your cat is eating, drinking, getting enough moisture, and supporting them, helping their immune system fight that virus. And because as you know, things like antibiotics, they may make you feel better by the fact that you're giving your cat something, they're not doing anything at all. And more than likely they're harming your cat. So don't go to the vet to get a prescription for antibiotics. Yes, you can go see your veterinarian, get an examination, get a diagnosis, but then consider some of the more natural type remedies to help eliminate this virus, or at least put this virus into remission and naturally help your cat at home. So first big thing is you want your cat to be eating and drinking. The ideal thing would be using some type of canned food. Often with our cats that have the flu, they can't smell properly. That's often what stimulates them to eat in the first place. So often I would tell clients as they get a nice high protein, higher fat canned food, first of all, that your cat likes. Secondly, warm it up a little bit. So when it's warm, your cat has a higher chance they're going to smell it, more likely going to eat it. And because it's canned food, it's giving them additional moisture. So it's giving them sort of the basic building blocks that they need for their immune system to fight this virus. So I've got some yummy canned food here. She smells pretty good. And Gussie. And as you can see for Gussie, so if she was sick with the flu, that's the very first thing I would do. She seems to like it. The next remedy I'd have you guys consider is increasing the humidity. So anytime you're congested, anytime your cat's congested, your dog is congested, by increasing the humidity will actually help open up those clogged airways. And it's just simple, natural way to symptomatically help your cat feel better at home if it's got feline herpes virus. So a couple of different options to do that. The easiest thing would be to actually get a humidifier where your cat is, a smaller space where they're sleeping, plug that in, let that vaporize all that extra humidity. Then the other option is where you're going to get your cat, for instance, they're up into the bathroom, you crank on that shower on warm, all that additional steam. Let them breathe that in. But regardless, especially with these kittens that get really congested, just by increasing the humidity really helps them a lot. The other big thing that I've found that topically that you can consider to deal with, unclogging their clogged up nasal passages, as opposed to humidity, there's a product called Otrivin, and there's a couple of different brands, and they're actually these topical nasal decongestants, and that people will put drops in their nose, and I've used them in practice, especially our small little kittens. So what you want to look at getting is called the pediatric Otrivin, and you're looking at sort of 1 drop in each nasal passage, and that can be given 2 to 3 times a day. There's some pretty common other just symptomatic stuff, so just get yourself a warm, damp cloth. Especially these guys, they have crust around their eyes and their nose. You just want to make sure you're wiping that off. I mean, imagine yourself, they feel so much better. So you just got a warmish cloth and just wiping the corner of their eyes, right? Yeah, there, Gussie. Sometimes I found if I would actually just leave it on there, it would sort of loosen up first, and then I'd wipe it. And just wiping the corners of the nose, try to open up their nasal passages. Often that's enough just to make them feel so much better. Real easy thing for you to be doing at home. There's a few different herbs you can consider using, the herbal tinctures, because what we're also wanting to do is just boost up your cat's immune system. This one here is Echinacea. It's an echinacea based. It's one of the more important herbs to helping support your own cat's immune system. We're looking at a cat dose of about 5 drops, pretty standard sort of tincture dose. We're looking about a quarter of a ml, about 5 drops 2 to 3 times a day. And it's something I'd be doing sort of for 5 to 7 days. And if you're going to be using the herbal tinctures, you want to make sure that they're a glycerin base, not alcohol base for our cats. Then the last thing I want to discuss, this was something you've probably heard of or you should have heard of. It's the use of amino acid called L-lysine, and I have a couple different options to show you. So what it is, it's one in particular that I found in practice. If I was to get clients to give it for somewhere between 3 to 4 months, often it was enough to put that virus into remission. And so what would happen is I'd get these cats, and every 4 or 5, every 6 months, they'd have these bouts of flare-up. So they'd be coming back into the practice, you know, their eyes are all puffy and swollen. They've got all this eye discharge. Their nose has got all this discharge again. They've got the herpes virus flaring up again. So it's a matter of what else can I give that's going to potentially put this virus into remission. So it doesn't come up so often. So L-lysine has been probably the one single natural remedy that I've seen actually be helpful in doing that. So you're looking at a cat dose of about 10 milligrams per pound. So we're looking at about 100 milligrams twice daily. And you can give it in a couple different ways. This is just an L-lysine product we're actually using in my family because we have cold sores, which are caused by a herpes virus. And L-lysine in people seems to also be helpful. So as I said, for our cats, you can get it as a tablet formation, so dosing it appropriately, 100 milligrams twice daily. You can get it as a veterinary paste. There's a brand called Enazil. I prescribe that a lot in practice. And it's also in my supplement, this one here, Ultimate Feline Health Formula. And at the dose, it's suggested for cats, so it's at 100 milligrams in each scoop. Thank you for watching this edition of Veterinary Secrets on feline herpes. What I want you to do now is first click that link in the box above. That'll subscribe you to my channel. You can go ahead, click that link in the box below. I can send you my free books and videos on how to heal your cats at home with my top natural remedies.